Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. Quick announcement to let you know that in this video, both stories have updates. This post is from the subreddit Off My Chest, and it's by user FrequentGas6500. The man baby is finally facing the music. My brother is 31 years old. In his time on Earth, he has not had to lift a finger to keep any of his needs met. He dropped out of college after less than half a semester because he could not bother rolling out of bed before noon to take the car our parents got him to class. He's worked a combination of 2.5 months in his entire life. He lost his first job at a Dairy Queen because he swore at a mother over the drive-thru speakers, and lost his second job because he got caught stealing from the till of a family-owned restaurant. He has spent the last 8 years rolling out of bed at 2 p.m. to do nothing but play video games and troll Discord servers to find someone just as pathetic as him to hang out with. It does not help that he's an annoying, violent, self-centered brat who would push my parents in front of a bus for the thrill of the dopamine hit. My parents always tried their best with us. They gave us everything we ever needed in life and then some. They have always been more than understanding to all of their children. For me and my 2 siblings who are worth something, this led to incredible performances in academia, well-paying jobs, and an amazing start to our adult lives. I wish I could commend them for the 75% success rate, but they have allowed the man baby to sit in his cradle and make demands for 31 years too long. And now they find themselves with an overgrown toddler who sits in the attic playing Valorant all day while cursing my mom out when she dares to ask him to clean up the rotting garbage he spreads across his room. Last year, Dad had a stroke. He is now at a point where he needs 24-hour care from a professional. My mother is burnt out. She retired when Dad had the stroke to take care of him, and it's done more damage to their relationship than 33 years of marriage could ever do. It does not help that they are perpetually harassed by the child demanding his dinner be delivered to him while he screams at teenagers over the internet. Me, all my human siblings, and my parents have been talking for months now about solutions. At the beginning of the month, we decided Dad is going to a care center. Mom will sell the house to move to a 55-plus community close to Dad, and the man baby will hopefully find a box with an internet connection. Mom and Dad have always protected him, but my guess is the stroke finally woke them up to the reality of the situation. Yeah, it sucks, and they are to blame for allowing him to get to this point, but there comes a time to cut your losses and admit you messed up and move on. It's a shame. All of the man baby's siblings, including myself, hate his guts. None of us care what happened to him, and it's interesting to say that out loud now that I think about it. I got the privilege to be there yesterday when he got the news. Mom's going to be moving in with my sister till the house sells, and Dad's going to the care center next week, and movers will be clearing the place out starting pretty much now. He has a month. The eviction process is already rolling. The non-emergency line already knows that his temperamental and violent behind has been served and is ready to respond if he does something stupid. Oh, and our firefighter neighbor will be over in only a few minutes if he needs his ass put in gear on short notice. It was wonderful. His meltdown was legendary. He actually stomped his feet and screamed that it was not fair. Said he was going to sue us all and screamed in an elderly man's face saying he wants to kick his ass. He demanded to know what we were going to do to help him find a place to live, how much money we were going to give him to make sure he didn't end up on the streets. Asked what he was supposed to do about the fact he was saving his money to buy a new graphics card. He somehow still does not understand exactly what he is now facing. He's now not talking to Mom or Dad. He's locked himself in his room since last night and only comes out to use the restroom and take food from the pantry that will not be filling itself anymore. It's great as my brother is staying there and working remotely to make sure he does not try anything, and to update me and my sister on the man baby's tantrums. I'm looking forward to the next month. It will be the best reality television I've seen in a while. Well, since this was an Off My Chest post, there's nothing for me to comment here. All I'm gonna say is that Opie is absolutely right. The parents are facing what they did. Apparently they did a great job with 3 of them but dropped the ball on the one, and now they're facing the music. However, as OP said, they woke up from it and are now going to just, at 31-year-old, launch him out into the world. Good for them. And what do you guys think about this whole situation? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what other people have to say. Powerman Friendship says he's going to pull some crap to go to prison on purpose, guaranteed. The threat of having to actually make his own way in life is going to cause a mental breakdown. To be honest, I would have sprung this on him at the last possible second once everyone is safe. I hope there are no weapons in the house. I honestly would not be able to sleep in a situation like this. The internet is producing an endless sea of entitled toxic monstrosities, and for many of them, violence is the only outlet they know. Sorry to sound like an alarmist, and I'm glad your brother is getting his comeuppance, but I sincerely hope your other brother is able to keep him in check physically, because the situation sounds very volatile. Good luck, and sorry about your dad. Sad face. And Opie responds, putting aside my snide tone and the comedy, we knew this was coming. We need to give him 30 days notice legally, so dropping him out at the last second was not an option. Mom will be out of the house before the end of the week. Dad soon after that. Everything that can be used as a weapon is already gone, and my brother is taking every precaution necessary. He has pepper spray also, but we doubt he will need to use it. The man baby is a brat and violent, but has never hurt someone else, and in my own opinion, he's too much of a coward to try to do anything. That does not mean we don't have precautions in place. Neighbors know, the police know, everyone that can do something knows about the situation. We made it very clear to the toddler that if he tries anything, he will regret it. Prison is one thing I don't know about. Maybe he's dumb enough to try it, but I also know he's terrified of anything new, so who knows. Overall, things are being handled to the best of all of our abilities. Shy Forest says, not to be a ball buster, but it sounds like your brother has a mental issue and or a disability of some sort that has only become reinforced over time due to lack of care, medication, and therapy. That's not saying your family doesn't care or didn't try hard to help him succeed, but it's easy for children in between normal and obviously on the spectrum of some kind to slip through and miss the help they so often need. He's not as academically gifted or socially gifted as you, because he can't be, at least not in a broad range of situations. Then boom, they're adults with no structure, stressed, and interacting with strangers, causing anger and irrational decisions because they don't understand the consequences, so they go back home to their safe space, becoming a man baby. People who do these things aren't normal. He might have a wake-up call, but it's much more likely he'll stay exactly the same. Kyle Maz 2008 says, question OP, is your brother going to be on the streets after this or worse, commit self-harm after his safety and security are taken away? His behavior is of course appalling, but it speaks to the possibility of some deep-rooted trauma. Has he ever been evaluated for any antisocial personality disorders such as borderline personality disorder? I can't imagine anything good coming from this. It sounds like your brother has serious mental health issues that need to be addressed. I know the feelings of comeuppance or revenge initially feels good, but in the end, as the years go by, it turns into a hollow void. I speak with experience in my dealings with my own mentally disturbed brother. I just wanted him gone, and then one day he was, by his own hand. There's not a day that goes by years later that I don't think of him. I beg you, reach out to him. Don't let him disappear out into the streets. You'd be saving a piece of yourself as much as him. I wished I realized this. It's never too late until it's too late. Good luck and Godspeed. And Opie responds, without getting too deep into personal territory, my parents have gotten him all the help they can. He's never been given any real diagnosis outside of depression because he would simply skip his therapist appointments and not put in any effort. It was a very expensive therapy program and he quit going after only 2 sessions. So he was never given an official diagnosis outside of depression because of his refusal to actually go out of his way to attend. My opinion, he has a case of clinical laziness. If he has something else, we don't know. But we don't know for sure. As I said, my parents have tried to get him help, but he refuses to put any work into improving himself. Additional information from OP's comments. One of our biggest concerns was when mom and dad decided they could not handle him anymore. He's a violent man baby, but he takes his anger out on things rather than people. I doubt he has the spine to hurt someone, but you know what they say about backing dogs into corners. We've taken precautions. My brother is in the house till his eviction is finalized. They will be repinning the locks the day he's out, and neighbors know what is going on and are there to help. If he damages anything, he'll be going to jail, and if he tries to hurt someone else or himself, we've let the police know he's a danger. Quick in post update, the man baby has not gotten violent, luckily. He has made everyone's life a living hell, however. He says he's found a place to live though, and says he'll be out by the end of the month. Well, the community definitely had a lot to say to OP regarding what the brother could be going through or what his mental condition could be. Unfortunately, we don't know anything about his background, but apparently from what OP tells us, nothing bad has happened so far, and apparently her brother has a place to go. Now, before we move on with the update, just remember that up here is a playlist full of other stories that you might want to check out after this video ends. Now let's continue with the update. Hello again everyone! I never expected my last post to get popular, but it was a pleasant surprise. Anyways, here's the update. So after where my original post left off, not much happened at first. The man baby sulked and gave my parents the silent treatment until both of them moved out of the house. He had a bit of a tantrum when he realized that my brother would not be buying groceries for him and he would, gasp, have to spend his computer fund to feed himself. After Mon moved out, I think that's when it hit him that this was happening and no amount of sulking and bitching would stop the eviction date from coming any closer. He had a massive tantrum a few nights after Mom moved out. He blew up the family group chat demanding we help him find a place to live and give him money for a deposit. I responded with a gif of a laughing cat and my sister blocked his number. He and our brother got into a fight, but like I always thought, he was too cowardly to actually do anything, so he sulked to his room. Skipping every little petty and childish thing he did over the month, he, in the end, did find a place to actually live. He started to do Uber to make some cash while he claims to look for a job. We'll see how that turns out. Anyway, from what I understand, he knows someone locally that he plays video games with, and the guy hooked him up with a cheap place to live. And when I say cheap, I mean cheap. I ended up offering to help the man babies move to his new place and got a first-hand look at the crack house he's now living at. He's living in a room above the garage in a 3-bedroom run-down crack house straight out of Compton. The place has fiber internet though, which was the must-have feature for my brother apparently. I didn't get a single thanks for helping him move and he demanded I buy him lunch afterward. I left him hungry. Anyways, we'll see how long this lasts, as the man baby still seems to insist on not getting an actual job and thinks if he begs me and my family for money, he'll get by. He apparently has already nearly depleted his graphics card fund and is blowing my mom up asking for $1,000, so it seems to be going well for him. He did ask me for money when I was helping him move and I told him that McDonald's is always hiring. He scoffed and told me he was too good for that. I guess we'll see how long that lasts. Anyways, the man baby has left the building. And that's it, and hopefully he doesn't have any of the mental disabilities or disorders that the community was talking about, and he's actually just a very big spoiled man baby that this bit of reality is gonna help him change his ways. And now let's move on to the next story, which also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user AITH Hurt Feelings. Am I the a-hole for leaving my partner's parents' home before supper and not apologizing for it? I've been in a relationship with my partner Ed for 10 years. Ed is an only child and has a very little family, so he is extremely close to his parents, especially his mom, Louise. My relationship with Louise is civil, but I've always felt uncomfortable around her. She'll often comment on my looks. These comments are unprompted and aren't nice. She'll say things like, "You don't try to pretty yourself up with makeup?" Or, "Why don't you do something nice with your hair?" I often end up feeling icky after leaving Ed's parents' home. And Ed has noticed this, but he'll often say that her comments aren't meant to be mean and he doesn't try to see things from my point of view. He's said things like, "My mom says things about your hair because you have straight hair and she knows she could do so much with it, and she has curly hair and can't style it however she wants as you could." I don't want to go with him to his parents' home because it's so unpleasant, but I know how much his family means to him, so I suck it up. A few days ago, Ed and I were at his parents' home for supper. I had worked that day, but I tried to change my updo a bit by quickly putting my hair in a half ponytail on our way to his parents' home. Right before supper, I, Ed, and Louise were on the porch when she said, "You would look so much nicer if you would cut your hair. Why do you have long hair if you won't do anything with it?" I just stood there because I'm so used to hearing comments like this, and Ed also didn't say anything. Minutes later, I noticed that he was looking at my hair oddly, and he asked his mom, not me, "Why does her part look so weird?" Talking about the part created by my half ponytail, and she said to him, "Her part is not straight. She clearly didn't take the time to make a nice part when she put up her hair." And all of this was said while I was right beside them. I was between them, so there was no reason not to address me directly. My feelings were hurt by this point, and I had had enough of this treatment from Louise and now Ed. So I said, "Why are you guys so obsessed with my looks?" And I decided to leave. Later that day, Ed asked me why I left. I explained that I was sick of these types of comments from his mom and that I felt like he and his mom were mean to me. He said he didn't realize how, but I should make it up with his mom because she was now crying because I left abruptly. I said I didn't think I should apologize for how they acted, and he said I was making things worse. Am I the a-hole for leaving right before supper and not apologizing? I don't think this should matter in the treatment I'm getting, but I work in a lab, so I'm not allowed to wear makeup and my hair needs to be tied up when I work. Also, Louise barely wears makeup and she never styles her hair, so I don't understand why she feels like she can criticize my looks. I always look presentable when I visit his parents, I wear nice clothes, and I don't look unkempt. Well, OP, of course you are not the a-hole. Your mother-in-law, on the other hand, is a huge a-hole, and your husband is an idiot and an a-hole. And you're absolutely right. They are the ones that owe you an apology, not the other way around. Now, if you want to address this issue, the only person you need to talk to is your husband. He has to choose. He either is a mommy's boy or he is your husband, but he can't be both at the same time. And what do you guys think about this situation? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Claire Clary says, "Not the a-hole, it's been 10 years, OP. If you're not going to leave Ed over this, and it seems you are not, then maybe start giving a little back. Start making little passive-aggressive digs at Ed's mom's house cleaning, cooking, home organizing, or design. Then explain that you're not trying to sound mean, you just know she could do things so much better and nicer if she put in the slightest effort." And OP responds, "Thanks for your advice. I'm giving Ed one last chance to stand up for me. If he does, then I'll stay, but I won't tolerate this from her anymore. That's a great idea to critique her back. I wouldn't feel comfortable critiquing her cooking because she's an excellent cook, but I could definitely critique her home decor. She's very artsy-fartsy and claims to follow Feng Shui, but I find the decor okay at best. She doesn't even clean the house. That's her husband. I guess I could also criticize her lack of ambition. She hasn't worked in over 10 years for no valid reason. She doesn't volunteer, doesn't study, etc. The only meaningful thing she does is cook and participate in some local theater productions once or twice a year. Otherwise, she's always playing random free mobile games." Successful Wish 3510 says, "Oh my, OP, how have you been with this person for a decade? The stones on Ed. What the hell was he thinking? The fact you had to explain to him that his behavior, along with his mom, was wrong says a lot. Ed needs to apologize to you, his mom needs to apologize to you, and you should reevaluate whether this relationship is worth it, not the a-hole." Love Dove Bunny says, "Not the a-hole. Ed needs to stand up to his mother regarding her treatment of you. You are an important person in Ed's life. 10 years. There's no excuse why his mother is still treating you this way. This may end up as a deal breaker if you choose to continue with the relationship, especially if you decide to get married. I would really talk to him and how uncomfortable you are. This behavior isn't normal. You not wearing makeup shouldn't warrant these rude comments. You didn't do anything wrong. I assume Ed is used to letting his mom control things and not standing up to her." And OP responds, "You're right, Ed should be standing up for me when his mother acts in such an awful way." After seeing all these comments, I spoke to him about how I felt about what happened a few days ago and also how I felt in general going to his parents' home. He apologized for his comment and said that he didn't realize how awful I felt every time I went to his parents' home. Which is odd because I know I've told him in the past a few times. But he said he'd stand up for me the next time his mom said a similar comment to me. I'm not sure I believe him, but I'm willing to see how he acts the next time. Thank you for your kind and helpful comment. Alright, community says not the a-hole, and I have to say, from the deepest, pettiest part of me, that criticizing lack of ambition thing, I think that's the way to go. But I guess we'll see in the update, which is coming up right now. Many people who commented on my original post said that my partner Ed should stand up for me, and even said that I should leave him because of how he treated me when we were over at his parents' home for supper, and also how he treated me even before that incident. I told Ed he had one more chance to show me what I mean to him by not letting his mom treat me like crap ever again. We just so happened to have another supper at his parents' home this past Monday. As expected, Ed's mom said some rude comments about my hair, and to my surprise, Ed did speak up. He said, "I like her hair no matter how it is." It's not really standing up for me, but it's definitely more than I expected from him, and the most he's ever stood up to his mom to my knowledge. Ed's mom seemed very shocked and taken aback by his reply. She didn't speak to me for the rest of the evening, and she later said to Ed, "I think she," referring to me, "looked so much nicer when she had short hair." I told her, "Why don't you just worry about your own hair?" And when Ed saw my face, he told his parents that we were leaving. I'm very glad he took me seriously. I told him that I didn't want to see his mom until the holidays, which he agreed to. So thank you all for your great advice. Well, I want to say happy update in the making because Ed still needs to, catch up on standing up to his mom. But this is a good first step. Thank you so much for sharing, OP, and all the best in the future. Take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.